Well, hello, Jonathan Nolan. Sunday, May 26th, 6:04 p.m. Gonna go over this video. You got some splaining to do, Arnold. And I think you've got some splaining to do, Jonathan, because the whole video, you misrepresented me and my video. You lied about saying that I agreed with John Quinton Wise when I clearly didn't. And then when you got caught flat footed, didn't know what to say, you just say, I'm going to hand this over to Kelly. What is this? Be the third one you hand over to Kelly. First one didn't go over well with the differences in the 1611 King James original and the 1611 King James authorized. She acknowledged what I was talking about. She seen it, but you didn't. And then for my other video, when I say was it 6 or was it 8 days, you handed that off to Kelly as well. You said it was a different generational time, and that's why it was 8 days. It was the same story, but a different time period. But Kelly seems to think that these weren't talking about two separate events. It was just supposed to be symbolism of Good Friday and then the resurrection, and that's why it said 8 days. But you said it was a generational difference, and that it was two separate accounts. She says it wasn't two separate events. So you totally disagree there. And now here's number 3. So let's get ready. I want you to hear this. I want everybody to hear this. How he just completely disregards my whole video. He watches like the first 6 seconds, and then he skips to the timestamp that I had down in the description of 26:30, I believe it was, or 25:30, and then he watches almost a minute and a half. So in grand total, he watched about a minute and a half of my video, which was over a half hour long, and he came to the conclusion that I agreed with John Quinton Wise. There's one good scripture that applies to you here, Jonathan Nolan. That's Proverbs 18:13. He that answereth a matter before he heareth it, it is folly and a shame unto him. It's a shame unto you, Jonathan.
What it was about. I don't remember. What is this? Was John Quinton Wise in error when he said that the Ark of the Covenant to cherubim were engraved image? So change of plan want to argue.
At the front of the temple were 2 large bronze pillars that flanked the porch. The pillar on the left was named Boaz, and the pillar on the right was named Yakin.
As he overlaid also the house, the beams, the posts, and the walls thereof, and the doors thereof with gold, and graved cherubims on the wall. There it is again. He graved cherubims on the wall. That's not beaten out. That's engraved. Does that matter? And why not?
When he's accusing Moses to have received the commandment of making a graven image with the 2 cherubims, the 2 cherubs.
See, here's that video that you re-uploaded, where you're getting on people like, I put out these videos and nobody else responds. So what did I do? I responded to one of them. I made a half-hour video. You disregarded it. You ask for people to respond and make their, point known. And then you just basically put them down and then hand them off to Kelly. What does Kelly think about all this? You're batting 0 for 2 as of now. And then by the time she's done looking at this one, I don't know if she can agree with your interpretation or not. We'll find out.
It was not a graven image, it was an image, not an image, but it was 2 cherubs that were stamped with hammers to be made. And in difference to the commandment, do not make any graven image. And I showed different tools to grave a graven image and to hammer it.
10. In the most holy house, he made 2 cherubims of image work and overlaid them with gold. Right there. That's how he made those 2 big cherubims that are in the oracle that the 2 wings cover, the Ark of the Covenant. It says, and in the most holy house, he made 2 cherubims of image work, of image work, of image work and overlaid them with gold.
When he's accusing Moses,
Right there.
different tools in the it will come.
Begins the post and says, instructed to do these things to build the house. And it says, he overlaid also the house, the beams, the posts, and the walls thereof, and the doors thereof with gold, and graved walls thereof.
Two Chronicles 3:7. He overlaid also the house.
And this is where you have to look up these scriptures on your own. You know, if you would have watched them, every one of those scriptures that you bring up are in my video, and 10 times more than you provided. Just think how it could have went if you would have actually just watched the video instead of calling me a liar and telling me that I was supporting John Quinton Wise when I wasn't. My video clearly stated that I didn't support that it was an engraved figure of cherubim that were sitting on the Ark of the Covenant. So, Jonathan Nolan wants to know if I believe that John Quinton Wise is in error here. I do believe he was. But he's only mistaken on whether it was a graven image or a beaten out image. But an image is still an image. Let me ask you something, Jonathan. If he were to have come to you and said, what about the cherubim that the Lord told King Solomon to make in the oracle? What would you have said then? Because those two cherubims, they were carved. They were carved. The Lord made sure they were carved. The Lord, he's the one that instructed Solomon. The Lord, he's the one that sent a man cunning to work in gold, silver, brass, iron, and that can engrave. Look at that. And that can skill to grave with the cunning men. Cunning men are people that have forethought and has to plan out a project because it's intricate. It takes a lot of thought. So the Lord made sure that that was there. There was a lot of engraving going on. So Jonathan Quinton Wise, yeah, he was wrong there, but the premise of his question was not wrong at all. It's a good question. Let me ask you the question then. Should those two cherubim in the oracle or the house of the Lord, Solomon's temple, wouldn't those two cherubim, wouldn't they be considered a graven image? You demonstrated the tools of pounding and carving, and it's said all through here we're carving. Engraved cherubims on the wall. He carved them on the wall. And right there. And in the most holy house, he made two cherubims of image work and overlaid them with gold. Image work. But you repeatedly said that it wasn't an image. It wasn't an image. But I believe it could be an image. Why not? He told him to make the image. I think John Quinton Wise was right in the premise of his question. So, I hope that answers your question.
Dans le fond, je suis en train de dire que John Quinton, quand il avait
I agreed with the premise of the question. I didn't agree that what he put up as evidence was correct. But you said that I agreed with him all to make your cousin feel like, she shouldn't believe you. That sounds kind of deceptive to me.
Beams, the posts and the walls thereof, and the doors thereof with gold engraved cherubims on the walls. And he made the most holy house, the length whereof was according to the breadth of the house 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 20 cubits. And he overlaid it with fine gold amounting to 600 talents, and the weight of the nails was 50 shekels of gold. And he overlaid the upper chambers with gold, and in the most holy house he made two cherubims of image work and overlaid them with gold.
I'm going to look up another scripture that I provided.
Exodus 25. And make one cherub on the one end, and the other cherub on the other end, even of the mercy seat shall ye make the cherubim on the two ends thereof. And the cherubim shall stretch forth their wings on high, covering the mercy seat with their wings, and their faces shall look one to another toward the mercy seat shall the faces of the cherubim be, and thou shalt put the mercy seat above upon the ark, and in the ark thou shall put the testimony that I shall give thee, and there I will meet with thee, and I will commune with thee from above the mercy seat, from between the two cherubims which are upon the ark of the testimony of all things which I will give thee in commandment unto the children of Israel. And thou shalt make two cherubims of gold of beaten work, shall thou make them in the two ends of the mercy seat.
Correct.
Okay, that's Exodus 25. True Chronicles 3:7 talking about cherubims on the walls that are draped.
Don't forget, it's also talking about the two cherubims that are in the oracle, whose wings cover the Ark of the Covenant. And those two cherubim of solid gold, the two big ones that cover the solid gold ones, they were carved out of wood first, and then they had metal or gold put over them. So they were an engraved figure. That's what that one is talking about. As well, kings. But when you're in Exodus, it's talking about Moses and the tabernacle. Like I said, the premise of John Y's question was correct. It's just the evidence was wrong. So I gave you a new question. It was a hypothetical question, but you won't answer it. Should those two cherubim in the oracle, or the house of the Lord, Solomon's temple, wouldn't those two cherubim, wouldn't they be considered a graven image? You demonstrated the tools of pounding and carving, and it's said all through here we're carving. Engraved cherubims on the wall. He carved them on the wall. And right there. And in the most holy house, he made two cherubims of image work and overlaid them with gold. Image work.
1 Kings 6:35. Saying also, and he carved thereon cherubims and palm trees and upon flowers, and covered them with gold fitted upon the carved work.
I gave all this information.
Okay, I've got a question.
You shouldn't have a question
I got
yet.
a question because there is this being talked about in 3 different places. Exodus 20.
Okay, he watched a total of 1 minute and 30 seconds of my video, and he's going, I have a question, and he'll expect me to answer the question, but is he going to watch the video that I already made, to see if that question was answered within it? Because it was.